an incredible tornado, unfortunately, coming right into the town of Fallis as we speak. A very well-defined circulation on Doppler radar, and obviously we're looking at a large wedge tornado. And, it is getting into more sparsely populated areas, but not unpopulated areas. And I'm very concerned about what's going to happen in areas like Fallis and farther to the east, perhaps towards Kearney and Route 177. So if you're anywhere out in that part of town, it's time to take cover immediately with this large and very dangerous tornado now on the ground. There you see one of those horizontal vortices. So here's the wedge right in here, and you've got all kinds of motion going on. You've got inflow into the storm that's wrapping into the storm, and then the storm is doing this. But on top of that, you've got very strong flow that's going up on the sides of the storm, and that actually creates a little bit of rotation, these horizontal vortices that occur along the sides of it as well. So this is a mean tornado. This is along the lines of what we saw in Alabama a couple of years ago, and very, very scary situation there. But fortunately, again, at least it is moving away from the more populated areas of Oklahoma City, but not completely unpopulated areas. And again, if you live in Fallis and areas farther east along Route 177, please take cover immediately. Paul, Kelly?
Yeah, looking at the map, Carl, again, tell the towns like Wellston, it looks like this tornado was just kind of paralleling just north of Route 66 there as Jim and the crew were moving out of Oklahoma City and Edmond, Arcadia, and just north of Luther there. So again, if you're in Wellington, heading towards that I-77, Highway 177 corridor there, be prepared, as well as Fallis and eventually Kearney, Oklahoma, all could be impacted by this possible tornado. Again, we're looking at live shots from our friends at K4 from their chopper showing now what looks like a large wedge tornado.
It's incredible to see this develop live on the air right before our eyes, really. And Carl, I want to ask you too, as you look at the radar, are you seeing what we fear is a possible debris ball? Because we oftentimes talk about that when a tornado is actually causing some damage.
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, there certainly is a very high return here. I don't know if I could go so far as to characterize it as a debris ball, but we are definitely seeing, if we show the radar picture, we're definitely seeing very high returns. So let's go and take a look at the radar picture, and you can see that there is an area of very deep red and purple, and it may in fact be some debris that's wrapping into this tornado. So right in here, you see those areas of deeper purple there, deeper red. That may in fact be debris as this thing is coming towards Fallis. It wouldn't be surprising. We saw a lot of power flashes as it was moving away from Route 66, so it would not be at all surprising if there were in fact debris. And my goodness, that's just about as well-defined of a rotational signature as you are going to see. And now on top of Fallis, as of the latest scan, so please take cover there immediately, and then moving generally out towards Route 177, which is right here, and maybe just to the south of Kearney. Guys, back to you.
Hey, Carl, could you explain to our viewers, again, when you have the radar in velocity mode, how the radar can help us determine if we have rotation, possible tornadic development?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we typically look at with radar is what's called reflectivity. So in this case, you're looking at the rain. There's very heavy rain across a lot of this thunderstorm, and then that rain is being wrapped back into the circulating part of the storm. But then right there, that little ball is the tornado itself, and that may very well be a debris ball. It may be showing up as a little ball because it's also got some debris in it, frankly. And then you've got the inflow right there. You've got warmer air that's feeding into the system. There it looks like a debris ball showing up again here. And then when we look at velocity mode, what we're watching is the areas of green and red. And what that green and red is showing us is where wind is moving towards the radar and then moving away from the radar. So as we zoom in a little bit, we can see that very clearly there's very strong wind going away from the radar and towards the radar right there. So that is a strong rotational signature. That is a clear indication of a tornado, and not just any tornado, but a strong tornado and a very well-developed tornado. And so that is how we use Doppler radar to see that. And unfortunately, I fear that there are going to be some reports of very serious damage from this tornado. But again, now moving away from the Oklahoma City metropolitan area. You can see relative to Oklahoma City, it's actually fairly far off to the north and to the east. Another supercell now coming through town, but no warning on that, guys.
All right, Paul, we're looking back at the pictures, the live shot from KFOR TV out of Oklahoma City. We're looking toward that particular storm that you're pointing out to us on the radar, and it looks devastating. It looks huge. I think what we've seen now is a tightening of this tornado and better organization of it.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, this signature on radar and what we are seeing in video right there, this is very much like what we saw in Alabama a couple of years ago. This is about as well-defined the tornado as you are going to see, and you know, it's just awful in some ways to watch this happen live, because you know that probably there are lives that are being upended. Now, what I can tell you is that it is at least moving into fairly sparsely populated areas well north and east of Oklahoma City. So we're getting out into areas where the population drops off. There was quite a bit of population back around Edmond, and then around Arcadia and Luther, but then it drops off rather dramatically as you get out here towards that Route 177. So there is a little ray of hope here that perhaps this thing is not doing as much damage as it could. If a storm like this comes right into the center of a major metropolitan area, then you're talking about utter devastation along the lines of what we saw in Tuscaloosa and also in Birmingham. So